to the closing beat, everybody. Happy Wednesday, hump day. Hope you're having a good day here so far. This is our quick stock market update show. It'll be real quick today because it was kind of a slow day for news as far as quantity. But we cover the stock markets, let you know how things went today, and we'll, of course, get to all of that. Tomorrow, we're doing our class for customers. If you don't know, we're financial advisors here, and every week, we're a teaching company. So every week, we do a class for customers. Tomorrow's class is going to be on the performance section of the website. So show you how to go into your account, look at performance, what's it all mean, how to make any adjustments. And so that's that. Hey, if you're one of our customers, by the way, I do want to just sort of slide this in real quick. Go into the dojo right now, and this is your home page. So normally, you know how you go into the dojo, which we give to all of our customers. It's a complete archive of all of our classes that we do every week, from basic to really geeky. Well, it's all in there. Now the home page is the market center, and this is going to improve over time. But this basically shows you the stock market. You can look around, see if you want to look at the Dow. You can look at your charts for that. Very simple, clean way. And a lot of the sectors that I look at, I put up here for you, so you could follow along just like I do, go through the sectors and things and kind of learn about this stuff if you're interested. So I just wanted to point that out. That is now live. I'm going to be using it here shortly with the charts from now on. So we got our own charts, man. We're, hey, you know, you just get a little fancier every day, but keep everything in check. You know what I mean? All right, so let's start with the markets today. Positive day. Basically, news today was all revolving around Boeing. We'll cover that. By the end of the day, you actually had the Dow up 148 points, Boeing positive as well. You had the S&P positive, and the Nasdaq was the better performer on the day, really, from a intraday sort of strength way of looking at it, right? It held up the most. FANG stocks, and you had, of course, biotech doing well today. So the Nasdaq did really, really well. If we go into it real quick, I will show you here. If we'll just pop over to the charts, Nasdaq wise, here's I'm going to use the one we use on the dojo for the charts there, so you can see. Nice day today, broke to new yearly highs. That's twice this week that we got to new yearly highs. FANG stocks were good today. Your Facebooks, your Apple. There you go. I'm just give it a second to load. Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, all little positive days today. That buying pressure kind of easing into it. And then you had the biotech stocks, which are real heavy in the Nasdaq. That'd be your IBB if you want to follow along. That's one ETF you can use. Also in the dojo off to the right under biotech or healthcare. And so that was a great day as well. That really helped your Nasdaq. In the sector, if I'll just kind of get off track for a minute, you had Aerie Pharmaceuticals. They had a drug approval there, and Biogen. I don't really focus on biotech too much, but those were two names that really kind of stood out there. So just to cover that, and then we'll move back on here. So the S&P, we use the SPY to kind of cover that. The world's, it's actually the oldest and original ETF out there. So that poked its head above resistance. We've been talking about this forever now. This little resistance area going back to last October, this is the obvious place on the chart, no matter what financial guru, television channel, newspaper that you look at. We're all talking about the same area, about the 2800 mark if you follow futures or the index. And so today we poked our heads above it, right? We took a look. What's going on up here? No, not today? All right, we came right back down into the area. Totally acceptable, totally normal. If the market's pulled back a little from that, would be more than acceptable. Think about what happens. The people that saw it poke above today and they missed out, thinking they missed out, they're going to come back tomorrow and go, oh, wait, we did break above there. Maybe I should be a part of that. So you'll have a little bit of pressure there. Unless there's some really bad news, which I'll tell you where it could come from in a second, then you have a recipe for a market that could take the rest of the week off and then work next week to move over those highs. Some of the bad news that could come out, well, we'll actually know by tonight, our time, tomorrow, China time. We'll know when we come back tomorrow, and we'll cover it. Tonight, you got some important economic numbers out of China. Remember, their stock market's going great over there. The economy, what? Like, the numbers are sort of all over the place, but not good. Tonight, we've got industrial production and retail sales coming out for China. Those are very important numbers. You could see a lot of action tonight overall, just in the futures market here as well as overseas in China and potentially around the world, depending on how good or bad those numbers are. In the S&P 500, you now have 82% of the S&P 500 over the 50-day moving average. That sets a little short-term record there. So just something to note if you follow that sort of thing. Let's go over to the Russell 2000 real quick. Struggling to get back to and above the 200-day moving average. That was a little weaker here in the short term. We're kind of watching that one. That one bugs me that it hasn't done so well. Okay, sector-wise, you got crude oil. That's going to be one of the big talking points today. What have we talked about? Here's your resistance area. We drew a little sort of a box, call it a little sideways channel there or whatever, a consolidation area, and said, hey, that 58 number, that's your resistance. Not my opinion. That's what everybody trading thinks. Well, today we got the crude oil numbers that came out. It came out with a draw of 3.9 million barrels today, which was a draw of more than expected. And so naturally that lends to higher prices. So anyways, broke above these highs today, and that's where the volume came in, confirming that everybody wanted to use the same spot. So very interesting. Got a nice little bounce there. In our portfolios here at Jazz, the best performers today, going through dividend, going through aggressive, going through the moderate portfolios, international oil companies that we own, one of the better performers. So as you look through your portfolios, if you are one of our customers and you like looking at that stuff, you'll notice those oil positions, especially in the dividend fund there. Those are your better performers. So that's the price of oil. You know what's going on there. Sector-wise, if you look through energy, oil explorers, oil service, oil holder, or also exploring companies, they all did well. Energy as a whole did well today. So moving back to those highs, some of them really needed that rally, so that's a good sign. The other, if you look through our portfolios today, the other thing you're going to notice is healthcare. Healthcare and energy were the two best performers sort of across the board, market-wise as well as in our individual portfolios, just digging around, taking a look there. So healthcare, this is going to be 3 days in a row. You've got, just this week, let's go here. There you go. Here's the beginning of the week, the bounce off the 200-day moving average. Just this week, a 3% rally, and you got less than 2% to get back to this high. So a lot of money coming into healthcare so far this week. Pretty interesting. You want to pay attention to that. If you happen to have a portfolio of diverse positions and you're looking in there, you'll probably notice the same. Today was a healthcare-led and big tech sort of led rally. Speaking of big tech, we covered it already, but here's the big tech sector. This is the XLK if you're following along. These will be your FANG names. Also Apple, if you happen to look at the XLK, Apple makes up almost 17%. I think it's like 16, it's something, 16.9 or somewhere right in there. It's about 17%. And so that naturally helps. Why? If you like this sort of thing, you pay attention to it. Apple lagged. Right? The markets took off. They rallied off the lows in December, and Apple barely paid attention. Now that Apple's gaining some momentum, it's like a second wind for the big tech stocks, and so that's why you see big tech doing well. Well, we got to cover REITs. New highs again. This one's also very strong. If you're playing along in anything real estate related, even no matter how diverse it is, killing it today. All of our stocks in our REIT fund, by the way, are positive. 76% of them are positive by double digits. That doesn't mean that I'm some sort of magician. It means that that sector is on fire. There are only 7 stocks in our portfolio that are up by less than double digits. That's it. The rest of them are all positive by 10% or more. And again, I'm not bragging. It's just gives you a sense of how strong this sector is. Since we hit these lows down here, an immediate V-shaped bottom to the tune of over 20%. So REIT positions really, really well there. All right, let's get to the goods. Individual stocks here. You got to mention Boeing. That's the only real stock in the news today. There's others, but that one's demanding the headlines because the U.S. finally said we're grounding all 737 MAX 8s and MAX 9s. Canada beat us to the punch earlier this morning. They did ground them as well. And they also said you couldn't fly into the airspace. So Air Canada was part of that. They have 24 of those jets. American Airlines has 24. To give you an idea, there's 371 of these suckers around the world. And so what happened to Boeing today, even though it finished positive, this doesn't go away, by the way, like tomorrow. Like, they're all grounded. They're going to get flown back to their areas where they can do maintenance and everything. This doesn't just like magically disappear. This will be a month, maybe more. It's not going to be one of those things where by the end of the week they have a fix and everything's great. Also, you don't want that, right? Think about it. If they grounded these planes because they know more than we do at this point and they go, holy cow, this is really a disaster, you don't want a quick fix. You want them to think about this. Please take a moment, look through your airplanes, right? Upgrade the software. People go test them for a while. Let's see if it works. Then let me fly those planes. So it's going to be a lengthy process. We'll talk about it as we go. It's cost Boeing so far $30 billion just since the beginning of the week. $30 billion. And I mean, of course, by market cap falling there. Which got you thinking? Who benefits from this? It's a sad thing to say, but as an investor, you go, well, Boeing's going to struggle. Southwest has planes. American Airlines has 24 that are down. Air Canada, 24. Around the world, you've got 371 of these things. What are they going to do? Who's going to support these airlines, right? So you start thinking about it and you go, there are companies that lease airplanes to other companies, right? You got Atlas Worldwide, you got Air Castle. Those are two of the popular ones. And if you dig in deeper, Air Castle would be the one that could really participate the most in sort of this if it becomes a long-term issue. I'm not saying to buy the stock. I'm just saying, hey, let's think about this. If you look at the stock, actually, yeah, if you look at the stock, people are already kind of figuring that these guys are going to benefit the most. Look at the rally here in the last couple of days. Think like an investor, although it's sort of a sad thing to say, right? I mean, you know, I don't know how you feel about it, but if you want to think about it deeper, don't just take the headlines for their sort of headline news. Look a little deeper into it and see if you can find a way to participate. Okay, Express Scripts was another name in the news today. They reported earnings not good. The company even said they face more short-term challenges. So you can see on the charts there, it's just a horrible breakdown from a technical perspective. A stock that trades sideways at its lows, right? So it's one thing if a stock trades sideways just wherever. But if it sells off, can't find a lick of buyers in the mix and just sits sideways, that's not good. Earnings today made it break down. Stock's not looking really good. If you own it, you want to make some hard choices there. Kraft Heinz added about 1% today. They're selling their Breakstone brand. You would know it if you saw it. It's not a very popular brand, like visually. It's sort of a crappy label. Cottage cheese, sour cream and stuff. It's the red label at the grocery store. I can picture it, but you don't think of it right away. Anyways, they're considering selling it. It's worth about $400 million. They might have to really take care of that. Aurora Cannabis, they got a guy named Nelson Peltz, if you follow, is from Tryon. And they hired him as an advisor really to work on partnerships. These guys are getting smart. These pot stocks are really starting to think this thing through. You can't just go it alone. You got Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg joining who was it? Canopy the other day. You got Aurora Cannabis now starting to work with advisors that actually know how to build and run partnership type businesses. He gets 20 million shares, by the way. How does that make you feel? They just gave him 20 million shares. Anyways, stock's higher on that news. That's good. Rite Aid CEO is leaving the job, actually, on that one. Carnival Cruise Lines, it did finish higher today by about 1.5%. Got upgraded by Goldman Sachs. And just sees positive growth there. It just basically said a bunch of good things about Carnival. CVS, one of the better performers out of the mix today. They were rated, upgraded to outperform at Bernstein. They basically said the current price here doesn't reflect the long-term future valuation. And so they had a bunch of other stuff to say. But hey, it makes sense. You got a rapid decline here. Stocks trading at a severe discount in the short term. Kind of smart to upgrade the stock at a discount. It's going to make them look great in the long term if you're that analyst. And lastly, Goldman Sachs. If you're wealthy, you got the communication. They're starting something called the Special Situations Group. Actually, it's existed for a while. They tested it for a while with their own money. Now they're offering it out to clients. They've been investing their own money in Asian properties all overseas. And some of these, well, discounted retailers here in the U.S., among other things. But so they're launching that. Apparently, it's doing really well. What else do we have? I think that's about all we have. Tomorrow, We've got Dollar General reporting earnings, Adobe, Broadcom, DocuSign, Oracle, Ulta Salons, and Zoomies. So, man, maybe interesting to you if you want to follow along there. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, and then we'll wrap it up. What do we have? K-Money's watching every day. I love it. I love it. I love it. You like Atlas? Yeah, they'll be in the mix there as well. AAWW is the symbol if you want to look at it. Yeah, a bit of a discount there in the short term. Yep. Filling gaps. Oh, that'd be nice on KHC, right? One day. That's the kind of, I use the analogy every now and then where if you fall off of the lift that I rented to put the lights up, probably not a big deal. If you fall off a 10-story building, you might not get up for a while, if ever, and it's going to be a long recovery. Same concept here. This thing just fell out of a 10-story building, KHC. So it very, very unlikely that it turns around and rallies back higher. Yep. Your thoughts on Nucor? Did they report already? Oh, they got a dividend coming out. They did report on earnings there. So from a technical perspective, you have here, let's just show it. So from a technical perspective, you got a very serious downtrend here. You can kind of picture it. I'll draw a sloppy line there, but you've got the idea that this is in a strong downtrend. If you're going to participate, even from a fundamental level, if you're saying, hey, what do we think about the steel industry? Even from a fundamental level, that may give you the reason that you're interested in the stock. So you might have strong beliefs and see all the goodness going on in the steel industry, but technically, could you buy the stock now? It's hard. It's hard to make a suggestion, although I'm not at the moment. It's hard to say buy something right in the midst of a downtrend. I personally want to see it break above first. Let the media turn, you see how it happens on TV. All of a sudden it makes the news. There's a little more excitement. It gets a few upgrades. All that stuff happens at these particular points for a reason. Then you're sort of playing with momentum rather than picking a stock that's having a bit of a rough downturn right now. Flexon Therapeutics. I can't tell you what to do with it, but I can say I don't see many people doing anything with it. That's a horrible little downtrend there. That's not good. Yep. You think oil goes to 65? Well, I'll tell you what, as we start getting more data, I think 61 is your first number, by the way, but as we start getting more data out of OPEC, that all this stuff is, what their cuts are starting to actually dry up supply a little bit. It'll be a little bit before we find that out. Yeah, that's that certainly could be in the cards there, Jacob. It feels that way. Maslam, that's a bad day right there. If the lift falls off a 10-story building onto you, that's a bad day and sounds like your last day. Yep. Okay, well, I've covered everything. Let me check my list here. Roku was downgraded. That's in the thing down below, scrolling right as we're talking here. CVS, we covered that. I did good. I just feel weird because there wasn't that much to cover, but we nailed it. I appreciate you sticking around here with me. If I helped you in some way, hey, hit the subscribe button or something. That helps us out a little bit. Also, don't forget to piss up wind, and we'll talk to you later.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.